Hello and welcome back to Plymouth Pavilions for another live In Conversation With here at the Devon Business Show 2023. It really, it's buzzing down there. It's buzzing more than a bumblebee going mad, like a buzzy thing. I really don't know where I was going with that, but never mind. And we've got some more guests with us here in our podcast studio. My name is Paul Philpott. I'm one of the vice chairs at the Devon and Plymouth Chamber of Commerce and your podcast host from Fresh Air Studios. But before we go any further, let's just say hello to a few of our exhibitors. We'd like to say hello to Big Wave Marketing, to Devon Coffee Company, to very good coffee. I've had their coffee, very nice coffee. They'll be keeping us going. To Devon Women in Business, and also to our very good friends at PB Media, who have been doing lots of social media activity for the Chamber. They really go above and beyond, and you should see the weight of the equipment that they carry, all those cameras. Yeah, they're doing beefy guys. Right, so with me now around the table, we welcome back Steve Warren Brown, but in his capacity as SocieTree, which we'll talk about in a few moments. Hot off the press is SocieTree. And also we have Global Warrior Jim and Sam. So we've got Jim to my immediate and Sam in the middle between us.
Hello.
Yes.
Hello.
Yeah, you're going to regret sitting in between us, I'll tell you now. Let's start with Mr. Steve Warren Brown, and with regards to SocieTree, as an organisation, as a charity, you really are quite hot off the press. When did you launch?
4 days ago.
4 days ago. There you go.
So the idea, we registered as a CIC in January. So technically we've been around for 9 months, but literally the launch was 4 days ago.
4 days. Come a bit closer to your mic, or bring your microphone a bit closer to you, because you've got
better?
Lovely dulcet tones. Fantastic. And how has it gone since the official launch?
Some phenomenal support, wonderful messages from people. They really seem to be in tune with what we're trying to do. It's fabulous. We just need to now start thinking about it as a business and getting the money in and getting the sponsors in and starting to capture some imagination and get people supporting it.
Fantastic. And from Global Warrior, we've got Jim and Sam. Global Warrior, tell us about that.
Well, it's an initiative to get a much better, more immediate pulse on the planet. Mm-hmm. So we use ordinary people from every walk of life, every echelon of society, and we train them to be polar explorers and ocean explorers. And then we go out and do purposeful, worthwhile data gathering explorations for our scientific partners, who are some of the best in the world.
That sounds completely awesome. I've
or mad.
Or crazy. Sam, it's that. Yes. You are you an explorer?
I wouldn't call myself an explorer yet.
Yeah.
I've done my own expeditions before meeting Jim, but for friends. But having just done our last 20-day tall ship expedition in the high Arctic, I feel I'm a little bit closer to being an explorer. Definitely the explorer's assistant.
Wow, this is
a bit more mad.
We're going to come back to this, because this concept of gathering data and knowledge and know-how in order to better our future sounds extremely innovative and very, very important. But let's just go back to SocieTree. As you mentioned earlier, you launched a few days ago. I can see something rather random coming up the stairs. Steve, you may introduce your colleague, shall we say?
Friend.
For those of you who are listening to the audio-only version of this podcast, I'm going to leave it up to Steve to describe what's going on.
Well, I'm hoping that my good friend Mushy is on the stage.
Yes.
He's very shy, but he's agreed to come out today to support our cause.
He is stage right, I think they say, looking very, very nervous. And let me just describe that Mushy is he's just knocked off the set over. That's right.
Here he is.
Mushy is a giant mushroom. There are other words that come to mind to describe a giant mushroom. Brown in nature, but very colourful in character. Mushy, have a seat. Have a seat next. Do any of you remember Noel's house party?
Yes.
It's one of those moments.
Yes, it is. Yes, I can understand that.
Sit down, Mushy. Right now.
Where everything goes wrong.
Do we need to get some level from Mushy? No, he's shaking his head. He's not very cooperative, is he, this mushroom?
He's talking to me at the moment.
Yes, okay. Yeah. Okay, so Mushy, what's the why?
So I've written a series of children's books.
Yes.
My Wacky Forest, based on the workings of Akira Miyawaki, and the main character is Mushy, who's a fun guy.
Yes.
Yes. So Mushy is very kindly supporting us on our quest, which is to plant 96 microforests in 96 schools. Mm-hmm. This is all about elevating a tree planting project to something that's a bit fun, a bit educational, hence engaging Mushy and his antics. I have told him to be behaved today. There's a lot of expensive equipment around, but
yes, there is.
Yeah,
yes.
So I think he's going to be behaved. I'm sorry, he's
very good at stroking the back of people's heads.
Yeah.
I think is that the magic in the mushroom coming out in you? Is it really? Yes. Yeah. And so why did you feel it's so important to have a mascot of this style? Talking out from an objective point of view.
So I recognised if I was in front of a bunch of 30 children in a school, in a classroom, I perceived there'd be 15 that would be really interested in the environment and nature. There'd be another 15 that we'd need to communicate with a different level. So be it the colourful books, be it the reading and writing in the books, the interaction in the books, be it having a cuddle from a giant 6-foot mushroom.
Giant 6-foot mushroom, yes.
He's also going to be prepared, it's the wackiness of him as a character which kind of sums up me as a person. I think fun is incredibly important in life. So if I wanted to introduce a fun element to our idea to elevate the project from being, not that there's anything wrong with a tree planting project, but this is a tree planting project with a difference. We're appealing to corporates who could hopefully get some extra value out of the benefits he will bring, having photos with the kids, inspiring kids. And if this inspires kids to engage with nature more through the stupidity and fun of it, sorry Mushy, then great.
And that's a really good thing that you've just said, engaging with nature, engaging with the world around us, which, going back to the introduction that you both gave for Global Warrior, that's what you do, isn't it?
Yes, it's all about vital data gathering for our scientific partners, but it's also about engaging your next door neighbour, really. I come from a very humble background. I've managed to be an explorer for 38 years and I've still got all my fingers and toes. But I was raised in a council house, so if I can do this sort of thing, anyone can do it. And, joining Global Warrior is a really good way of doing that. It shouldn't cost you a bean because we teach you how to go out there and raise the sponsorship. But your contribution towards gathering vital scientific data is vital.
These discussions all have to come from ideas. It's ideas that engage people. Sam, how did this as a concept come about?
Well, Jim's been running Ice Warrior for 22 years, and it was always the idea that would move into the other extreme environments. The premise being that extreme environments are where we see first what is happening with climate change. It's the first barometer that something's going wrong.
Could you give an example?
Well, glacial retreat, which is devastating at the moment in alpine regions, up in the Arctic, desertification, deserts are expanding, that kind of thing, and our environments will cover those aspects. And so the idea started with Ice Warrior, which, as I said, 22 years, and we always wanted that to then move into the other extreme environments. And Jim launched Ocean Warrior in January this year, and we've got this 10-year regular expedition on the same journey that's going to happen with our tool ship, which will benchmark the oceans for the same section of ocean and water for 10 years.
Wow.
Yeah, so 10,000 nautical miles each year for 10 years. So we should be able to point the finger and say, this is going wrong or this is going well. If we don't look at these areas, which for 70 years now we've understood to be the barometers of change, then how do we know, is the rationale, that anything we do to mitigate climate change is actually working? And, you might say the scientists are doing this. Yes, they've got autonomous satellites measuring things, but they need calibration and validation, and that's the ground truthing data that we provide, as well as empirical data that you cannot dispute because it's there. If we look at a cube of seawater, we can tell you what's in it, what pollutants are in it, how much carbon it's absorbing, because the ocean absorbs 50% of the carbon that we emit. And what the consequences of that are in terms of food chain and right the way down to fishing and foodstuffs and everything else in between. But it's all about getting that data, interpreting it in an absorbable way that everyone can understand.
absorbing carbon, that's a subject that I know is very close to Steve's heart. In terms of, I guess, the phrase carbon capture comes to mind. I don't know if it's the right one to use, but you were recently at your launch event talking about the fact that microforests are really, really quite ingenious when it comes to this.
Actually, it's simpler than that. This is a natural solution. So microforests are mimicking more of what would occur naturally. So the planting style of a microforest is random. This is why the model fits beautifully with children, because you haven't got to tell them to plant them in a straight row. You haven't got to tell them to put them in groups of 7. Just go out and plant it where you want within the confines of the space identified to plant it. And the work these guys are doing is phenomenal, but can sometimes be distressing. You can sometimes think, and my aspiration, born through something one of my children said to me, which is, after watching a David Attenborough programme and saying, I'm just fed up with all the bad news, what can we do? And this is what I'm passionate about, is using Nushi, the books, and getting into the front of the children and giving them some education, but probably most importantly giving them some hope, inspiring them to believe they can have an impact on their future, rather than the perhaps more common sort of diatribe we fed, which is, we've done the damage and it's too late, we're over tipping point. All of which may well be true, but we need these kids to come up with a belief they can do something, and I'm hoping, with the help of my esteemed friend here and using the data, I'm hoping we can, in a tiny way, impact on that and have some impact in moving forward.
Jim and Sam, I mean, hope is a really it's a good word. Is the when you I guess the hope for you is you're eventually going to find data that proves there's a slight reversal in what's happening to our planet?
Absolutely, we should be able to identify that in a much more immediate way. The problem with scientists is they do their research, and 18 months later, if you're lucky, it's written up and published, and people know about it.
18 months sounds a bit too long to me.
Yeah, well, if you look at the IPCC
policy
report, some of that is 7-8 years old. So we could be 7 or 8 years behind the time. So putting an immediate finger on the pulse, it's not only positive, ordinary people can do this, which is really positive. They have to be adult, because we can't take children, but because of the extreme environments, but we train them how to live, work and gather this data in these extreme environments.
Is there any way that the general public and the business community can engage in actually accessing the data and understanding the data that you catch?
It's vital that this data is in the public domain, and so our scientific partners, which are in Plymouth actually, Plymouth Marine Laboratory is instrumental in helping us do this, and they'll be on the vessel with their scientists as well as the Marine Biological Association, all based in Plymouth, the ocean city, and this is Ocean Warrior we're dealing with. So we're going to put a public face on what they're doing, tremendous work that they're doing, and we should be able to see change, good and bad. But also it's about technology. I'm an optimist, and the technology out there at the moment is sufficient to turn this round. What we need to happen is the commercial guys, the movers and shakers, to see that they can actually earn money, sadly, doing that. Yeah. And then the whole thing will turn around. And there is one shining example in Australia, the 4th largest iron ore manufacturer. He has converted, or is in the process of converting, his entire operation. So all those huge trucks, the locomotives, the ships, the massive ships that dig up and ship iron ore, they're all being converted to hydrogen power, which is tremendous. And but he's going to earn a fortune out of it because he's leading the way. And so if we can encourage commerce, and that's small businesses as well, to engage with this and be positive about it, because the technology is there to do something about it.
Steve?
So refreshing to hear that, and I think, when people say plastic's the problem, no it isn't, we are. We are causing all of these problems, but actually the positive of that is, well, therefore we should be able to fix it. So it's wonderful to hear that, and knowledge sharing is part of what we're doing as our message, albeit on a much, it's a 6 to 8 year old children we're talking to. I've been incredible. I've had the pleasure of doing 3 of these schools, and every one of them genuinely, I've sat down with children that are talking to me about sustainability and about nature and about worms and stuff, and they're already getting it, and they are our future, and we just want to support that in as many ways as we can. We need the guys with the money. We have our model already proven, demonstrates a return on your corporate social value of 3.5 to 4 times your investment. Now, to me, it's not about that, but if that means somebody out there that is interested in a corporate social value pound, spending in the community, instead of only giving you doubling your return, it's 3 times, 4 times, because we're engaging with children, because it's about nature, then come and see us, because if that's a real strong point for us and we get another 10 forests done on the back of using your money, then let's do it. Because we need to spread this. I cannot stress strongly enough, and I know this is but a pin drop in the ocean, but these microforests are proven.
If it is a pin drop in the ocean, they'll pick up on it. You know, to say.
There's not much room for jokes in here. Right. I had to get that one in, didn't I?
But it's true.
Yes, yeah.
It is, yeah. It all counts. We're all working in the same environment to make that difference. So we need all of this. And I don't enjoy reading some of this stuff because I get distressed and I want to do more. We want to do as much as we can at SocieTree. There's 22,000 schools in England. Imagine if Project 96 could be the springboard to inspire other people to get involved and do it nationally.
You're not going to run out of opportunity there. Jim, Sam, what are your asks from the business community?
Really support, knowledge about us. We do need money, of course we need money and investment. But I don't see it coming from, small businesses. What we need is people to know about us and engage with us and support us morally, really, because these are your normal people next door that are engaging in this. They are actually taking themselves, motivating themselves to do something about climate change, something real, something tangible, something we can deliver. And one of our aims is educative. What I've got in my heart is a massive, great big dashboard that says where we are, what we're picking up. It's got polar bears on, so a child can come and tap a polar bear and know everything childish about a polar bear, but then an adult can come up and tap it again and know everything scientific about what's happening with polar bears, heavy metal poisoning and numbers, decreasing fertility and what have you. So there's a massive education side of things, and just to get across to small businesses that they are vital in this process,
And something I don't think we've touched on, but the children that are engaging, and actually other examples of talking to some headmistresses, we shouldn't forget the well-being aspect of this.
Yes.
So let's put this as it is, we're ruining the environment that is actually naturally better for our own well-being. Let's just think about that. Let's just think about that for a second, and let's just think about the natural process of engaging with nature to make yourself feel better, to go and do better things. And let's stop this in every way that we can, and let's get the likes of Jim and Sam to get this message out there, but give the hope. That's what we want to do.
Hope is absolutely crucial. And we're trying to, although we're incredibly remote, because that's where it happens, that's where we get the indicators, we're trying to use technology to bring it into the classroom. So we're using virtual reality, augmented reality, to get them on the ship, looking at us, watching the polar bear coming towards us, and us commenting about it.
Don't do very well with ships, I'm just saying.
Well, therein lies a tale. We didn't think we did until we got on it.
Right, yeah. I imagine you're both full of, not full of it, but full of facts.
Afraid so.
Come on, land us some I bet you didn't know kind of facts.
Well, I bet you didn't know that 95% of the ocean is unexplored.
No, I did not know that. Did you know that, Steve? Obviously, any more?
Did you know that every second breath you take comes from the ocean? So it provides oxygen, 50% of the oxygen that we breathe.
Wow, every breath I take, I'm watching you. Yeah, and any more? I knew there'd be some amazing facts in there. Steve, do you want to just close off by telling us about the exciting future that you're probably going to, I don't know, you got a lot to do in the next few weeks just to get this thing really properly off the ground.
Fundamentally, this idea was born about helping corporate businesses on their carbon net zero journey. But as the idea has developed and we've recognised there's social value, there's educational value, there's fun, this is about talking to businesses about how they expend their budgets locally and have impact on various levels. And, you know, corporate social value, environmental social governance, CNZ, all of these things, there's so many things that we tick boxes on. So my ask, if that's what you're asking,
yes,
if it wasn't, then I will say anyway.
You can ask away.
My ask is to, you know, reach out to us. Go onto our website, www.societree.uk, I think. If not, pop along to stand 6368. Talk to us about how you're going to make an impact locally to some local children and hopefully the future of the planet.
Your idea has literally grown organically, hasn't it?
It has, yeah.
So from Global Warrior then, how can we reach out to you and get involved?
Well, next year we're going to bring the vessel to Plymouth. So for Ocean Warrior, we'll have the vessel in the prime spot on the Barbican, and people can come and visit us. They can be entertained.
May we come and record an episode
yes,
of
please
the Devon?
do.
Brilliant.
Please
We'd
do.
love that.
They can be educated.
As long as it doesn't go anywhere, that's
they
fine.
can volunteer to come along as well. You know, on the actual trips. We need 144 people, ordinary citizen scientists, over the year, that's split into 8 legs of 18 people on each leg. And, you know, they will be helping the scientists side by side and will be reporting on their story in the broadest sense possible, because
absolutely
that will engage other people.
It'll be Ocean Warrior Day in the Ocean City.
Yeah.
Yes. Oh, there you go.
18th of June.
18th of June. July. 18th of July.
Yeah.
Would a
Fantastic.
6-foot mushroom be welcome?
Yes, absolutely. On the poop deck.
You're gonna agree. Yes, on the oh, where's the drum kit when we needed it? I'll tell you now.
How are you with heights?
Yeah, okay. I've got to feel. As long as you hold my hand, okay. I'm sure I'll be fine. You don't let go. That is as well. Thank you very much for joining us, Steve. Congratulations once again on the launch of SocieTree. I know it means an incredible. I mean, from the heart. I know the whole project is from the heart, and from somebody who was in the room last week at Market Hall when you did that launch. You had a very good attendance, and there was a lot of love in that room for everything you're doing. So congratulations and very well done. And also, Jim and Sam from Global Warrior, you're absolutely compelling, and I really, really, really would love to find out some more amazing facts. And actually, eventually, I'd love to be there on somehow, even if it's just I'll FaceTime you, all right? That's what I'll do. Yep. I'll FaceTime you, and you can take me with you, all right? So thank you very much for joining us as well.
It's our pleasure.
Thanks, Paul.
Let's close by just saying a few more hellos to some of our other exhibitors here today. Hello to Capita Midlife MOTs, Leonardo Hotels, both Plymouth and Exeter, Emerson Wills, the Plymouth Charter are also here as well. There's still time to pop down to Plymouth Pavilions if you're watching this live stream live. If not, then don't forget to click subscribe on your podcast channel that you're following us via. And thank you very much for listening in. This is the Devon and Plymouth Chamber of Commerce here at the Plymouth Pavilions for the Devon Chamber of Commerce Business Show 2023.